Hello and welcome to the Daily Atheist Morning Show. I am your host, the amazing Super Chris Mallard. Thank you for joining me today. It is already, isn't it? Wow, already. It just went by like that, so fast. But it's Monday again. Damn it. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I had a pretty good weekend. I mean, I went and did stuff. I did stuff. And that's cool because sometimes, you want to do stuff and then you're like, I ain't going to do that stuff. And then you don't do it. And then you regret not doing it. I did it. I'll talk to you guys about it maybe in a minute. Let's do this. What should we do this morning? What should I do to you guys this morning? Let's go with this one.
Are you feeling the world is leaving you behind? Do you look at all the pseudoscience, rumors, and wild speculation on the internet and wonder, why can't I do that? Well, friend, you can. We can help you. We are ConspiraWin. ConspiraWin has a long history of helping anyone with a hidden truth. We will get your message out. The conspiracy theories you see today all started out with one person's vision. The moon landing hoax was launched by a NASA engineer whose manager didn't okay his vacation request. ConspiraWin was there to help out. Christianity started out because one little girl named Mary got pregnant out of wedlock, and ConspiraWin saved the day. Now, the virgin birth is accepted Catholic doctrine. You may be thinking, but my idea of the center of the earth being made of ice is far-fetched. No one's going to believe that. In a world where people believe windmills cause cancer, we say no dream is too big. ConspiraWin will take your fledgling idea and feed it to our YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok operatives. And these savvy social media professionals will raise doubts with the prevailing scientific consensus. They will say, no one has ever seen the planet's core except Jesus. And science is wrong all the time. That's why science has theories and not Jesus. Within 30 days, we guarantee you CNN will run a story on how your conspiracy theory isn't true. We will also give you 100% assurance Fox News will say your crazy idea about the Earth's core being an icy ball is true. Follow your heart. Listen to the voices no one else can hear. Team up with ConspiraWin.
Good morning, everyone. Yes. See, there's the chair back there. See, I'm in the chair. I don't think you actually see the ops panel. This is the ops chair, the ops chair. Damn it. That is like Sulu's chair or Chekhov's chair. Anyway, but there's the captain's chair. That's all right. We're here. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining me today. Secular Fearless said, remember to set your chat to live chat at the top of the chat box. Indeed, please do that. Because if you don't see everything. I don't know why they do that. There's not a setting that I can set that will make it automatically be live chat for everybody. Nope. I can set one that allegedly in the comments of the video afterwards, it'll be live, but I don't trust it. Wow. Too skinny to be fat says, I went to the church my mother goes to, and it really is a cult. The fake love, the fake care. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been in a church. It would be creepy. Creepy. Yeah. Too skinny. Let's see. Beard of Empathy says Sulu to stage right and Chekhov to stage left. So I guess here's my thinking. I remember the Balance of Terror, and I remember Chekhov being on Kirk's right down at the bottom because he was having a racial problem. He was being racist in the Balance of Terror when they saw the Vulcan. That's how my brain remembers it. And in that case, Sulu was down. I would be stage right. Not Sulu, Chekhov. I'm sorry, Chekhov. Chekhov would be stage right. Audience left, I guess it were. Not that it matters. I'm sure they moved them from place to place over. Well, one of the things about all the bridge crews, they allegedly could all work all positions, and that's why whenever Sulu had to leave one time or Chekhov had to leave one time, Uhura stepped down and ran the con. So yeah, they could probably all do the thing. Let's see here. Are you having a problem with the messages? Are y'all having a problem with the messages in the chat? With any luck, my friends, soon they will be unified. I'm waiting for YouTube to do the thing where they unify essentially, I right now have to run 2 streams. And I will then too, but I have to create them as two separate streams. In the future, I'll create one stream. It'll have two ingestion feeds and one chat. If you're in the one chat, you'll see everything from the other chat. It won't matter. So in the future, friends, in the future. Let's see here. Cults do the same thing. Cults are very, I know there's a delineator between a cult and your mainstream religions. In my opinion, that delineator is imaginary. That delineator is created by the people who are in the mainstream religion, so you won't call it a cult. That's how I feel about it. But it's all a cult. In Christianity, especially, right? I mean, it's an apocalyptic cult. They're waiting for the end of days. Their reward is after death. I was reading one where something this morning where Jesus tells somebody, he's like, "Come, go with me, and leave everything behind. All your treasures are in the afterlife." And you're like, wow, that's so noble that they're going to leave everything behind and follow Jesus. But in reality, when you stop and think about it, it's solid greed, pure greed. I want treasure in the afterlife. I want treasure. And that's the only reason why they're doing this, so they can have treasure in the afterlife. And I was like, ooh, owie. Let's see. Good day. Free weed and was confirmed. Wow, free weed is good. So I got some Gyuto cake. Oh. Actually, I'm a wake and baker kind of person. Zorkros, I think the use of irrational means of persuasion to keep members in the cult, penalizing any expression of doubt, using mind control tactics, etc. That's one of the things we've talked about here before on the channel. Let me bring that up real quick, since we're talking about the whole Christianity as a cult, as a religion. Let's go back here to whenever. Let me bring up my wonderful and trusty notes. Mark chapter 1. Chapter 2. Maybe it's chapter. I'm getting there. Hold on. Okay, let's see here. So in Mark 3:21, his family go to try to get him out of there. Or they said he is out of his mind. Let me go find Mark 3 now real quick so we can bring this up. Now, in this particular case, what we're talking about is being in a cult, right? And Jesus, in this reading, is in a cult. And his family goes to get him out. Let's go here. Jesus is accused by his family and teachers and by teachers of the law. This is Mark chapter 3. It goes on about Jesus doing the thing. And then down here it says, then, this is verse 31. Then Jesus' mother and brothers arrived. Standing outside, they sent someone in to call him. The crowd was sitting around him, and they told him, "Your mother and brothers are outside looking for you." "Who are my mother and my brothers?" he asked. Then he looked at those seated in a circle around him and said, "Here are my mother and my brothers. Whoever does God's will is my brother and sister and mother." And therefore, this is Jesus right here being absolute cultic behavior. We're today you describe this as like, imagine David Koresh's family going, man, he's in there. It is because in this particular case, Jesus is the leader of the cult. But yeah, just imagine being a family member of somebody you cared. Man, I grew up with him. He's my brother. He's my sister. She's my sister, whatever. And then to find out they're in a cult over there in a camp, they're all, wait. My sister is married to this religious guy and he's got like 3 other wives and they are, right? It's weird shit. Like, you know what I'm talking about, those particular cults. But then there's also the cults like the Heaven's Gate, Marshall Applewhite. How many of the members of that cult's families did exactly this here, what Jesus' mother and brothers were doing, going to get him, trying to save him from that cult? How many, I wonder? Interesting. And that's kind of exactly what it is. It's a cult. This is exact cult behavior. Yeah. Except for in this case, nowadays we talk about Christianity and a cult is when the leader of that branch of the religion is still alive. The whenever it's a religion is that person is not alive anymore. It's kind of the way we think about it, I think. And in this particular case, it's a cult because Jesus is leading it. It's a cult. He talks about his followers being willing to take up the cross. Now, being willing to take up the cross means essentially that, listen, if you're going to go with me and do what I do, you're going to risk getting pissing off the Romans, and they may put you on the cross. That's what it's talking about. It's not talking about taking up a cross so you can be like Jesus. No, there was a very real danger that they were going to be, they were going to be punished. Kind of very similar to the things they go through. They're willing to sacrifice anything, separate themselves from their entire families. And then in the case like Applewhite, like Jim Jones, if you want to believe their own stories. I don't believe them myself, but they died for a lie. So it talks about how all of these disciples died these horrific deaths, essentially because they believed in Jesus and all that business. It kind of all comes back to this, just like the followers of these other crazy cults that all burned and ended up taking down all their people. Now, in this particular case, I don't really put much stock in the whole they died for a lie thing. And that's because, well, first of all, the fantasies, fan fiction that those stories are written in, about how the disciples suffered, all that was written like 100 years after. So why believe any of it? It's hearsay at best. Hearsay. It's this, but you're going to come in here and think, because this one book written 100 years after says that Peter was this or John was this or whoever was this. No. But then let's give them the credit on that. Who would die for a lie? Well, lots of people have died for lies. That's just a stupid question. Don't you think that's a stupid question? That's a stupid, at least hill to die on right there. Who would die for a lie? That's just stupid. So many people have died for lies that they knew were lies. Oftentimes you do it because there's an end goal you're trying to reach and you don't think you're going to die during the achievement of that goal, right? For one reason or another. In this particular case, let's talk about Jesus and his disciples. Would they die for a lie? If you were to ask them, hey man, would you die just pretending that this guy is Jesus? I'm gonna kill you right now. Just would you let me know would you die for him right now? Just because he's not Jesus, he's just some guy. No, they would no. But in this case, they all went in and they were. No, of course they would say no. It's kind of my point, right? However, let's do it like this though. Imagine Jesus and 3 or 4 of his disciples are outside of a little town or village, and Jesus looks at one of them and says, John, you do this with your hand, right? And whenever we get in there, I'm going to heal you. And then Steve over there, you be a leper. Okay, get you covered up and, just pretend to be. All right, and Cindy, whenever the crowd is all around me, you touch my robe and you fall down claiming that you've been healed and your bleeding has stopped, okay? And so they are, all right, you guys go ahead. And so they go into the town and they pull off this little trick, and it's really cool, right? They've convinced everybody to get money. They're, you know what, Jesus will be by your house tonight. Just give me this, 10 goats or whatever, and we'll be there, whatever. That's cool. That's the lie. It's a lie. It's a con game. We know that has happened. This is not just some made up thing, Secular feelings, I have no control over Ryan. I see you post that regularly. I have no control, zero control over Ryan. I can't bring her back. I cannot. It is beyond my control. Now, maybe if you went and posted that over on Ryan's shows, go back to the damn show. I asked her to leave because I didn't ask her to leave. I kind of did. It was one of those deals where she just sit there the whole time while I ranted. And it was uncool. I felt it was uncool to be there. I'd actually have to stop and go, okay, hey, Ryan, what do you think? You're still here. And we went through like weeks of that. And I was like, so, it was just one of those things. I cannot bring back Ryan. Cannot. So, I'm just saying. I'm sorry. Can't. Whatever I was saying about something. So yeah, they go in there. They go in the town. They dupe the people. They get their coin. They get the goats. They get whatever. Then they beat after the town, and that's all great, right? Now, what if, as they were meeting before, getting ready, all right, you go do this. Well, what if some guy was standing out there, he said, hey, look at that. That's kind of cool. I know those guys. All right. And then when they're in the town, he sees them. And he's like, wait a second. I know you. You're not a leper. You're not. And he calls them out. Do you think they would then die? How likely it is that they would not be? It's pretty likely, I would think, that in that case, pretending to be a Godman and all that business, they would take that very seriously, and you would face a severe punishment. All of you in the group would face a punishment for that, I feel. Don't you think that's kind of these are the people that talk about stoning their sons to death for just, anyway. So I really think that if they got caught in their scam, then of course they would have died intentionally for a lie. So that's not really a good argument at all. Let's see, Elaine. Hey, Elaine. Let me see. I haven't really said hi to everybody. Let me go here. And I don't mean to be terse or a jerk, secular feelist. I just see it off and I just can't do nothing about it. It's not, it's a done deal. 6 months, Anyway. But again, I love Ryan. She's wonderful. I have no problem with Ryan. We have no problem. As far as I know, we have no problem with anybody each other. None of that atheist channel drama that I'm aware of. None of that. I just got to where I just didn't feel it was fair to her or anybody else. What I've thought about doing, taking a break myself, get a couple of people on here, letting them run the morning show like it used to be running a morning show with two people and talking and fun and laughing and whatever business, taking calls if those guys want to take call. And then I can drop my videos over on my long form videos on the Chris Mount or do something else, because I've thought about that. We'll see what happens. I've got people who are willing to do that. Other host people who are willing to step in if they need to. Edward Barber, you should be watching Bible and Coffee on YouTube right now and learn something and stop doing meth. Really? Does that work for you? You telling people that they should go do something and then insulting them like that? Does that work? People usually jump right on that. Is that how it works in your group? Anyway, the Bible and what do I want to watch the Bible for? Let's see. Let me read this again. Watch Bible and Coffee on YouTube. Okay. Are they going to be willing to talk about the parts of the Bible I want to talk about? You think they will? You want to think they're going to talk about the parts where Moses is killing babies, or Jesus is talking about murdering people, or Jesus is telling them to come bring them before me and put the sword to them? Or, do you think they'd want to talk about any of those parts? Like where Mary was a little girl when God raped her? But then that's really right up the Christian alley, isn't it? What part of the Bible do you think they should? Maybe what they should do is come over here and watch my show and learn about the Bible. That's what I think should happen. Yeah. Anyway. Welcome to the damn show, Richard. Glad you're here. Richard, believing in God is like believing in Santa Claus. Yeah, except for this Santa Claus is mean. One of the things, the whole Santa Claus and God creature, it really is. There's not a lot of difference between the two. Yeah, one's for kids, one's for adults. Let's see. William Graves. Let's see. God the Fraud. God the Fraud. Christians seem to like telling others what to do with their free will. Isn't that interesting? It's very interesting. And I also listen, you better do what God creature wants you to, or he's going to burn you in a pit forever. But you have free will. Really? Okay. I have to say, now that it's a pit of fire that's going to burn you in forever, after you die, it's a little less convincing. They have no proof that it's there, all of it. Now, if they actually had a burning pit of fire right here that I can see, and they're going to go, listen, you need to go into this church door, or we're going to throw you in this pit of fire. Well, that would be a tough conversation in my head. My moral standpoints would be, fuck, I don't want to go in that church, but it's a pit of fucking fire. That's not a choice. It's not a choice. Whether you think your God creature is going to throw you in a pit of fire, or whether you think it's just an eternal damnation, or whatever you think it is. One of the few things I've ever seen a Christian think is that their God creature just mercilessly blinks the wicked out of existence. I don't think I've ever heard a Christian say that. No, there's always some sort of eternal punishment or damnation for the wicked things you've done. Not for actually doing things wrong, but for not believing the way God wants you to, or not sacrificing the way God wants, or not celebrating God the way, or not being hot enough. It's all about God, right? It doesn't matter if you murdered people or hurt children or any of that business. It doesn't matter. As long as you can appease God, you're fine, right? Interesting. But again, with the free will thing, that's quite a note, isn't it? Yeah, you've got free will, but man, don't you dare fucking use it. Why? That's just ridiculous. Let's go down here to Skinny. Good morning to Skinny. And of course, Miss Non Sequitur. I hope you're having a great day. And Richard, the Bible is just a storybook. Sure enough. Too bad too many people have been killed for that storybook, or for speaking badly about that storybook. That just blows my mind. Your God creature is so pale and so pathetic and so weak and so pasty and so thin that this chattering monkey's words hurt its feelings. That's they made a word for it, blasphemy. Anyway, let's see here. I want to see what's going on here. I knew our Christians would be doing their thing. Stephanie Ryan, good morning. Remember, none are worthy due to the trick of the garden. That's one of the things I really love. I could almost be convinced that Christianity is a fake religion set upon a group of people as a punishment by God. I could see that because he's done it before. The example we have is God, the people who he led out of Egypt pissed him off because they started worshiping the gods of their old fathers and mothers. He pissed them off, so he gave them rules and statutes they couldn't follow, right? And then he had them defile their sacrifice, their gift to God, however they defiled it. So two things happened. One, rules and laws you cannot follow, just cannot follow. And two, the defilement of the proper way to sacrifice. You're supposed to sacrifice X, Y, and Z. He told them intentionally to sacrifice A, B, and C, which is not valid. Therefore, it's defiling their sacrifice. Same thing with Christianity. Yeah. Same thing with Christianity. You can't live up to Jesus. You cannot live up to it's that. A great many of them think Jesus is a perfect God-man. You're trying to walk in his footsteps. There's no way you can do that. There's no way you could live up to the expectations of Jesus. And the followers fall for this. I am unworthy. How many of you? We are unworthy. What makes you think you're higher than God? Right? We are unworthy. There's no way you can walk in the footsteps of Jesus and match it. No way, because Jesus is God, right? You are imperfect. He is perfect. It's an impossible task you cannot live up to. And since Jesus was the last sacrifice, Christians stopped sacrificing animals like they were supposed to. So therefore, it defiled the sacrifice because they stopped. With the other ones, with the ones in the desert, he changed it. You're not supposed to do this, but he made them actually sacrifice their firstborn sons. With Christianity, they just stopped sacrificing, which again is a violation, right? They don't sacrifice anymore because Jesus was the final sacrifice. That's the lie. That's the con. Now, they'd be like, well, again, Jesus, I don't believe that because Jesus was the last sacrifice. Well, yes, that's exactly what you were supposed to believe. Indeed. Exactly correct. Just like the people who were wandering in the desert. They believed. Why would they sacrifice their children if they didn't believe? They believed that's the way it was supposed to be. This is the way God made it. Just like Jesus. Jesus sacrificed himself for you, so you don't have to sacrifice anymore. It makes logical, perfect sense. However, by not sacrificing anymore, you're technically, according to the Jewish religion, you are now in violation. So it's defiled the sacrament. So Christianity, to me, sounds exactly like what God was describing he did to the children lost in the forest. Doesn't it? Christianity could be a fake religion, just like that. You can never live up to God, man. You just can't. You can't live up to God, man. And because of Jesus' sacrifice, you no longer have to sacrifice. The goats, the sheep, the dove, the sacrificial animals must be very grateful. The ones you were supposed to sacrifice, but you didn't because of Jesus. So now the sacrifice has been defiled. Just like what happened to the people wandering in the forest. I mean, I don't really believe in any religion. You'd have to actually believe the God creature was real and existed and did those things. But I mean, just based on what it's describing, if you want to live in that world, it really does sound like your religion, if anything, is a punishment. And look what it's done to the people since. Interesting. So, let's do a thing real quick. What did we do earlier? We did the conspiracy one. I want to do this thing right here, and I'll be right. Ooh, this one here. Oops. Do you have an atheist friend or family member who's a good person and you don't want to see them end up in hell? But now they're on their deathbed. Time is running out. They've been there for you and now you want to be there for them. But how can you save them from your all-loving, forgiving God and its eternal lake of fire? Well, fear not, my wayward child. Introducing Father Flanagan's line of atheist deathbed conversion Bibles. No more worries of loved ones meeting their resolution without absolution. Now you too can force your faith on the weak and helpless in their final moments. Father Flanagan's line of atheist deathbed conversion Bibles are designed specifically for the weak and infirmed. Extra large type for failing eyes seeing their last. Deluxe editions come complete with a post-mortem Mother Teresa would have approved baptismal kit. Also available in heathen and heretic versions. Father Flanagan's line of atheist deathbed conversion Bibles coming to a Walmart near you. Let's see. Good morning, everyone. Let's see some interesting names here. Trustworthy, legitimate. I obviously believe you. Whatever you have to say, because you are indeed trustworthy and legitimate. Christians and Muslims destroyed their ancestral cultures and religion and replaced it with fan fictions of the Jewish mythology. They try to please a God that wouldn't give a shit about their kafar ass. Maybe maybe that's really. I have a commercial for goat-scented flesh candles. Maybe I should play that for you real quick so you'll see. In that, it's like, desert person whose name I don't know, you have sinned. Probably, right? Because that's how it is. God creatures doesn't give a shit about people. They doesn't know. They think, oh, I have a personal relationship with Jesus, the God creature. Really? You do. You're special. Very special. It's like the narcissist is thick with these. Anyway, good morning, trustworthy. Let's see. Into the unknown says, crucify him. There you go. Crucify that bitch. Is it like CrossFit, but for Jesus? Doing like up here on the cross like this, and you doing leg lifts to get that ripped Jesus look. You got to do the leg lifts and CrossFit. Oh, I need to have Jesus his own gym, his own little CrossFit gym where he does every exercise off the cross, whether he's lifting up himself one hand over here, whether he's doing this. The CrossFit Jesus. I'm gonna have to feel that. I'm feeling that. Here we go. CrossFit Jesus. Richard, the Bible was written mostly by male authors, so surprise, surprise, God is a he, no doubt. And very interestingly enough, and oddly enough, it was written by a bunch of, I want to say, bitter, misogynistic pricks. And it reflects that right from the very beginning. Right from the very beginning, man is given woman as a slave, as a body slave. Right there. Woman, you done wrong. And so now you will bleed in childbirth, but your love for your husband, your love and your lust for your husband is a punishment from God. So, Genesis chapter 3, ladies, go read that. Genesis chapter 3. Your love for your husband is a punishment from God, for Eve's falling. And maybe that's right back then, maybe, I don't know. Kelly says, if atheists were as intelligent as they think they are, they wouldn't be atheists. Actually, that's exactly backwards. Yeah. If you were as smart as you think you are, you wouldn't be a Christian. I mean, you can't figure your way out of the religion. You can't think your way out of it. It all makes sense to you. It all makes sense. Jesus sacrificing himself makes sense to you. For you. Makes sense? Don't deny Jesus here in my chat now. You wouldn't do that, would you? He's watching. Yeah, so it's a sacrifice, but it's not a sacrifice. By no measure it is a sacrifice. The Romans don't sacrifice things to the Jewish gods. The Jews didn't sacrifice him. They didn't want him to be their king. Pilate said, Jesus is king of the Jews. He spat that at them. It's not a sacrifice. That's an execution by the Romans for claiming to be a king in their territory. That's not a sacrifice. And he didn't go willingly. I just kind of tapped on this the other day. Jesus did not go willingly. You yourself, unless you want to stay ignorant. What's your name? Kelly, UAI. Unless you want to stay ignorant, go read the Garden of Gethsemane. Go read the story. In that story, Jesus tells them every time, I don't care which version you read, Matthew, Mark, go read. In that story, Jesus says, now remember, you're going to know these words, Kelly, know these words. Lord, please take this cup from me. It's him saying he doesn't want to do it, right? Lord, take this cup from me. You are the most powerful creature in the universe. You can do anything. Can you not take this cup from me? Not my will, but your will. That's what he says in every one of them. His will is to not do it. But we're not going to do Jesus's will. God's will is greater. Jesus is doing, he's saying that. We're not going to do my will. So that means Jesus was not willing. He only went through with it because God, creature, told him he had to. That's the only reason. He was begging not to go. And whenever essentially God says, nope, you're going, he's like, all right, not my will, but your will. Go read it in every one of them. Jesus did not go willingly. Go read it for yourself or stay ignorant. You even still here? Oh, there you are. Thank you for proving my point, moron. Is that all you got, Kelly? See, you're actually proving my point, especially with your lack of punctuation, capitalization. I mean, you're calling me a moron, and yet you write like a 7-year-old. What's up with that? Who's the moron? And I'm showing you right here in your own book. But you don't want to go look, do you? You don't care? You don't want to know the truth. Go look for yourself. Jesus says in every one of them, not my will, your will to God. He doesn't want to do it. He does not go willingly. Lie to yourself if you want to. Christians tend to take shit out of context and then claim other people take shit out of context. That would be you, wouldn't it, Miss Kelly? Wouldn't it, Miss Kelly? I'm a moron. That's right. Carry on. Do you think you're accomplished something, moron? You can't even spell my name right. I mean, who's the moron? Every time you speak, you expose your lack of intelligence. And you're calling me an idiot. I don't think you have the right to call anybody an idiot. Nobody. You didn't show anything. Okay. Gotcha. Ladies and gentlemen, and once again, I have proven right here in front of all of you exactly what we talk about with Christians. They don't care. They're liars. They're shit. At least not all of them, obviously, but a good hunk of them. They lie. They have no arguments against the real truths of their religion, and they just attack you personally. At least if you attack me personally, you could not write like a fucking idiot when you do it. If you're going to call somebody stupid, spell it right. Moron. Anyway, I am done reading your words. They are beneath me. Let's see here. My chat will take care of you, but you won't pay attention anyway. You don't care. You don't want to know the truth. You don't want to know the truth. Let's see here. Bum, 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 bum. Isn't that so cute? Oh, what the fuck? Pardon my France. Let's see here. That's not what There we go. All right, let's see. Let's start with Mark 14 for funsies. Hey, baby, how you be doing? Mark 14. God the fraud says all Christians lie, at least to themselves. They do, and it's projection. They'll come in here and say, you atheists, you say you don't believe in God, but you know in your hearts there's really a God. That's Christian projection. Wait. They'll say, atheists, you say there's not a God, but you know in their hearts there's a God. They do that. And yet what really happens, that's actually Christian projection. They can't convince themselves truly in their heart that there is a God. They don't know for sure. They want to say they do, but they don't. But so it's exactly what the opposite. It's exactly so they say they think in their hearts that there's a God, but they know there's really not one. Or it would have answered those prayers, right? It would have done those things that they asked for, that they begged for. You know? Anyway. Let's see here. Me burrito. Hey, good morning, Gabby Love Gabriel. How are you doing today? Let's see. Pa-dum-pum-pum, pa-dum-pum-pum, pa-dum-pum. Pa-dum-pum-pum-pum-pum, pa-dum-pum-pum. Let's see. This is for whomever that individual, whatever her name was. He took Peter, James, and John along with him, and he began to be deeply distressed and troubled. My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. He said, stay here and keep watch. Going a little further, he fell to the ground and prayed that if it is possible, the hour might pass from him. You've heard that phrase. Abba, Father, he said, everything is possible for you. Take this cup from me. That's twice in this very one scripture, book of Mark. Right? Twice, right there. Make this hour pass. Take this cup from me. What's he say after that, though? Yet not what I will, but what you will. Jesus was not willing. He was not willing. He begged twice in the book of Mark right there. Don't make me go through it. But you're going to make me go through it because your will is stronger. Right there. Not my will. That's twice right there in the book of Mark. But read on, my friend. So Jesus goes down and he gets onto his disciples because they were sleeping when they weren't supposed to be. And then it says, once more, he went away and prayed the same thing. So when he came back again, he found them sleeping. So at least 3 times in the book of Mark alone, he begs not to go through with it. And at one point, there's that all-powerful line, not what you will, but what I will. Jesus was not willing. Let's go on, because if that's not enough for you, and I'm taking it out of context, you're almost certainly correct, because, lying atheist. Now, I just want to mention my ignorant Christian friend, the atheists we're the ones telling you the truth. Right? You just don't know it. Let's go over here. Maybe someday you'll know it and you'll be like, motherfucker, he was right. I doubt it. Let's go to Matthew 26. Okay, Matthew 26. 36 through 46. Let's go down to 36. Jesus went to a place called Gethsemane. Sit here while I pray, he says. He began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, my soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me. Going a little further, he fell with his face. Is that the same one? No, it's Matthew. Yeah, it's Matthew. Going a little further, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, my Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not what I will, but as you will. That's Jesus telling you he was not willing. He was not a willing sacrifice. And it doesn't matter if he was man or not. This whole Jesus was a man, that's just ignorant, isn't it? No, I don't know you, Holy Hondas. I don't know you at all. I'm just saying, isn't that ignorant? So Jesus is a God human, God man. So he's Jesus, he's God. He created the entire universe, but he's still a man. And that's just ridiculous. Just so ridiculous. The notion. So he's afraid of stuff? He's afraid of anything? Why is he afraid of anything? He already knows that after it's all done, he's going to be sucked back up into heaven and live bodily beside Jesus, God in heaven, or be God in heaven. Either way, why would he be scared? What the fuck? And then when you go read his beating, Captain America took more of a beating than Jesus did. Anyway, if you're going to go for fictional characters, so here we go. So that is it. My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me, yet not as I will, but as you will. Yep. Now, we're in the book of Matthew this time, not the book of Mark. Book of Matthew. He went away a second time and prayed again. My Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away from me unless I drink it, may your will be done. Found them sleeping again. And so he left them and went away once more a third time and prayed the same thing. In the book of Matthew, 3 times he prays to God to not go through with it. And then says the same thing. Not my will, but your will. 3 times. That's 2 or 3 times in the book of Mark, 3 times in the book of Matthew. Jesus was not willing. So you Christians said, Jesus willingly gave his life. No, he did not. You might say God gave his son, Jesus, to be sacrificed, but that's just disgusting, isn't it? Wait a second. You are into child sacrifice? Jesus is God's child. I don't care how old he is. Jesus is God's child. The relationship between the sacrifice and the sacrificer matters. Does it not? It does. And just being this guy, if you sacrifice just any man, that's just a human sacrifice. But if you were to go if you're a 50-year-old man and you go out and you sacrifice your 25-year-old son, it's still, you sacrificed your child. Did you not? So you're into child sacrifice, Christians? That's cool with you? So if I sin and I do something wrong, it's okay to go get my little 10-year-old boy and bring him in here and cut his throat and spill his blood to get rid of my sins so God creature won't be mad at me anymore? That's what we're talking about here. That's what we're talking about here. I've done something wrong, and this is the whole premise of sacrifice. I've done something wrong, and I'm going to go hurt something innocent, something pure. To lift the wrong off me? How the fuck is that good? How does that make sense? Anyway, so there are those things. I hope you were able to absorb some of it. Most of you, you're my peeps. You know what I'm talking about, but you know who I'm talking to. Are you upset because he showed love? Who showed love? Jesus showed love? See, that's the whole deal, Gabby. If you're not even listening to what I'm talking about, you're not. You're ignoring what I'm saying completely. Oh, he showed love. You're ignoring everything I just said. Where was the love? Where exactly is the love? You're going to, the love and the sacrifice. Well, again, he didn't sacrifice himself willingly, did he? No, he didn't. I've shown you 2 of the 3 synoptic gospels. Do you want me to go find the third one? You do want me to go find the third one, don't you? You do. Okay, cool. Now, if you're harping down to whenever the Romans come, and you're like, the Romans came up there and he went willingly with them. Yes, he did. He absolutely did. Very true. You know why? You know why he went when the Romans came? Because had he not gone, they would have murdered him right there, right fucking there in the sand. He would have died right there in the sand, just like his mother and his brothers and his disciples and anybody else who was running with him. Was it a cohort of Romans they sent? I mean, they sent Romans. They went armed. They would have killed. You're dealing with the fucking Romans. They would have killed every one of them. Of course he went willingly. He did so to extend his own life. In the garden, he tells you right here. Let me go find Luke's because you don't believe me, right? You're going to ignore all this and you're going to say something ignorant about, oh, yeah, blah, blah, love, right? Jesus, no love. No love at all. Luke 22. Let me go find it for you because you don't. Obviously, you're not listening to me at all anyway, so you don't care what the text says. You want to believe whatever you want to believe. Typical. 39 through 46. It's funny, they come. I don't know why I'm surprised. The people who, for a good part, don't believe in evolution and deny all the billions of pieces of both fossil evidence and living evidence that we have right now that proves evolution is true, that any form of proof is going to satisfy you, that you would accept any form of proof at all. I'm just stupid for even thinking you would, let alone to go into your own Bible and show you where you're wrong. You're not going to believe it. There's nothing. Anyway, but there are some out there. There are reasonable people who've been sucked into your religion, and hopefully some of them will hear my message and go, you know what? This shit is fucking stupid, isn't it? Sacrifice? Wait a second. He knew beforehand that he's going to be back up in heaven? That's not a fucking sacrifice. What kind of sacrifice is that? What was a sacrifice to the Jews? Jesus was a Jew, remember? You remember Mark chapter 1, Jesus told the leper, go. I've healed you. Go to the temple and sacrifice with the priests as per the laws of Moses. That's what Jesus told him. Jesus's last dinner, that last supper you guys love to talk about, the last supper, blah, 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 that was fucking Passover. That's Jesus celebrating Passover as a Jew just before he died. Why don't you celebrate Passover? Jesus said, I did not come to get rid of the laws. I came to fulfill them. Like I came to back them up to make sure that they get done. His very next line is, not a single jot or tittle shall pass before whatever. You ignore that part when it's handy, isn't, don't you? Just ignore that part. But you're not a Jew. No, not a Jew. Oh, yes. Warcraft therapy. They're atheist tattoos from a long time ago. Different day in an age, guys, apples versus orange. No, really, isn't that interesting? Apples versus oranges. Yeah, so you expect us to live by the way they thought and taught back then, and we're not moral because we don't live by what they thought and taught back then. But that's the thing. But when we turn our eye back then and go, why aren't they as moral as we are? You're like, oh, don't judge them. That was a different time. Isn't that kind of stupid? Huh. Why did God condone slavery? Why did God condone slavery? God gave his own people into slavery several times. God taught his own people how to train and how to beat and how to sell their slaves. Jesus used slavery as an example as your relationship between God and you, the follower. And then Jesus also said, oh, remember, though, that one there, go look it up. It's the one where he said, if it's a slave who's done wrong and knows they did wrong, beat them a lot. They get many blows. But if it's a slave who did wrong and did not know they were doing wrong, beat them with few blows. This is Jesus using slavery as a metaphor for heaven and God in your relationship. And then remember, Jesus also said, slaves, obey your masters as you would your Father in heaven. So God didn't know back then that slavery was bad. We know now. We have the morals today in our society. We know that's bad. But that God creature couldn't know that back then. Really? Really? Isn't that funny, though? The hypocrisy where you want us to live by the rules they laid down back then. But selectively, pick and choose, right? You don't really want to go with the one that talks about how much to sell your daughter for. Don't go with that one. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Secular feeling Jesus drove a Honda, but he never talked about it, for I do not speak of my own accord. That's true. John 12. Yes, that's right. Thank you very much for the super chat. The devil was made by God. How does it feel to be a product of a Lord host? Do you hear how you talk? Does that not sound weird? I mean, that's creepy, dude. That's fucking creepy. It's like, I would not let you around children just by listening to you talk. You could go in there and, based on how you Christians act, you could rape every one of them and then just go home and apologize to Jesus and you'll be okay. Right? That's your guys' morality, isn't it? That's your notion of morality, isn't it? All you have, no matter what, it doesn't matter what those people you victimize thinks. That does not matter at all. The only thing that matters is if Jesus forgives you and accepts you, if you take Jesus into your heart and he lets you into heaven. That's all that matters. Right? So you don't have to apologize to them or anything. Nope. Just go home and go, oh, I'm sorry, Jesus. Please forgive me. I believe in you and my spirit, all this bullshit. Right? So who's more moral? You're more moral? You can go out and just do anything and hurt people all you want to and then go home and just absolve yourself talking to your imaginary friend. Now, as Christians, we kind of believe that, or Christians, us atheists, we believe we live in this society that we're in now, right? So if I go do hurtful things, I'll pay in this lifetime. And there's no other lifetime for me to go through. So like if I get thrown in jail for life here, I'm done, man. That's all I got. But you Christians are like, well, if I get caught, it doesn't matter because I'm spending a little time in jail. When I die, I'm going to be in heaven forever and ever and ever and ever. Who's more moral? Really? It's funny, too, that you come in here and like, atheists can't, how is it you think we get by without raping people and murdering people all the time? You think that because we don't have a God, we can't? Somehow how do you, so if we free you from your God creature, are you going to start raping and murdering people because you no longer have a God creature looking over your shoulder? Are you that shitty, morally speaking? Just curious if you're going to own up to that or not. Hebrews was written by who? Go tell me when Hebrews written and by whom. Yeah. Well, you can't tell me who it's written by, can you? Because they don't know who it's written by. And it was written like 100 years after Jesus, right? Isn't that true? Let's see, for if we sin willfully, after that we will have received the knowledge of the edge of truth. There remaineth no more sacrifice for sins. Yeah, again, this is directly contrary to Jesus's words. These are words written by somebody who was not Jesus, was not a follower of Jesus, and probably, like I said, 100 years. How long? 100 years. When was the book of Numbers written? Oh, I'm sorry. Hebrews. I'm sorry. Hebrews. I get confused. I'm old. I smoke weed. Hebrews. Let's see, between 60 and 70 AD. All right, so I was wrong. I didn't exaggerate on purpose. I was just wrong. So 60 and 70 AD. Jesus died roughly 33 AD. So that means 30 to 40 years after Jesus died. Somebody wrote that. Who wrote it again? And, despite you're going to ignore Jesus' own words that tell you to sacrifice because somebody later who never met Jesus tells you not to? Really? Okay. Again, Jesus did the Passover. You should go look at what is involved in the Passover ritual. It involves the slaughter of a lamb. Again, there were several times where Jesus told them, go to the temple and do your sacrifices as per the law of Moses. Let's see. That is just untrue. Stephanie, what did Stephanie say? John's Moses, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Sermon on the Mount by Jesus. What about it? What about it? Why don't you try to put the Sermon on the Mount, you Christians? Why don't you put the Sermon on the Mount in schools? Why aren't you putting the Sermon on the Mount in schools where it says love everybody, it says forgive people? This one little speech, by the way, one little speech where he goes over this little riff. Why don't you put that in schools? Forgive everybody. We're all equal. Treat people equally. Those few times that he does say that. Remember, for every one time Jesus does something like that, there are hundreds of times where it's absolutely not true. It's like Jesus says God is love and mercy, but there's no love, mercy, or love displayed by the God creature of the Bible. There's none. Mercy. We're talking about the God creature that drowned all the babies in the flood. I mean, we could just go on about it. Remember David who had sent a man off to die in battle because David wanted to have sex with his wife. That all happened And David's punishment, King David, by the way, of the heavenly, Jesus is from the house of David. David's punishment by God was to have his wives raped in public by his friend. But what did the wives do? What did the wives do? Interesting, isn't it? What a piece of shit religion this is. And so many examples. Jesus did indeed say something on the Sermon on the Mount, but Jesus also told you, didn't he, that if your eye offended you, you should pluck it out? Now, you'll notice when Jesus tells you that about the eye offending you, your hand offending you, when he talks about that, go read those, my friend. Go read it. How does that end? Let's work this out together. Jesus says, if your eye offends you, you should come to me and ask me for forgiveness and beg for forgiveness through me, and I will forgive you. No. Why doesn't he say that? No, he says, if your eye offends you, you should pluck it out. How many eyes do you have, Christian friend? You got 2 eyes? So your eyes never wandered upon a woman's ass or never offended you, never thought sinfully with your eyeball? No? Or you're blind? Remember, Jesus said it's better to get into heaven with 1 eye than it is to spend eternity in hell with 2. Remember that. Huh. Let's see. Do you know any of the words of Jesus? I don't see why these are even relevant. Okay, Book of King Solomon. Okay, gotcha. Yep. He that despises Moses' law died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses. Of how much sore punishment supposed shall he be thought worthy who hath trodden underfoot the Son of God? And I don't know where you're going there, Caleb. I'm not really sure where you're going. But good morning. Thank you for joining us. Let's see, Stephanie Ryan. You're talking to somebody. Caleb counted the blood of the covenant wherewith he was sanctified, and an holy thing, and hath done despite unto the Spirit of grace. I don't know what you're getting at there, but I'm sorry. The blood of the covenant, we've talked about that several times. It's kind of one of my arguments for why Christianity is a blood cult. It's a blood cult. The blood of the covenant, when we're washed in the blood of Jesus. Through Jesus' blood, you are saved. Through Jesus' blood, you are washed. It's a fucking blood cult. And a death cult. Because Jesus is dead, and you're going to be saved after you're dead. Right? It's a death cult. Christianity is a blood cult, and it's a death cult. You can be both, I'm just saying. And if I write out offends, plug it out and cast it aside. Okay, yeah, that's true. So, Caleb, I appreciate that you're posting those there. Do we have a lot of blind Christians in the chat? And this whole notion of ignoring the words of Jesus in the Gospels and doing something Jesus didn't teach, written by somebody who was never there, never knew Jesus. We don't even know who they were. It's written decades after Jesus. And to take that anonymous author's word over Jesus's word from the Gospels, do you know what we're talking about Hebrews. Who wrote Hebrews? Let's go find out who they think wrote. Yeah, I mean, even kind of depends, right? But let's see who they think wrote Hebrews. It's been a while since I've looked some of this shit up, so bear with me. Who wrote the book of Hebrews? The human author of the book of Hebrews is officially unknown. So you're taking somebody you don't even know who the fuck they are. They don't even claim to be somebody. Written in 70 AD and claiming to be Peter, right? Like 1 Peter. 60 and 70 AD, there's no... And the reason why they think that's because it speaks of the temple sacrificial system. Oh, no. The temple sacrificial system. So, somebody who is not there, who never met Jesus, wrote rules that you follow that are exactly against Jesus' teachings. Interesting. And, like the book of John, no, Jesus died for my sins. I really don't think so. I don't think Jesus died for my... So he died for my sins, so I don't have to do anything. My sins are all paid. Jesus is burning in hell right now, all by himself for my sins. That's what happened. Really? And isn't it weird? It's disgusting that God creature would want to sacrifice something to itself. Your God loves blood so much that it required a blood sacrifice of its own son. Disgusting. It's just fucking disgusting. Disgusting. And then, as we mentioned earlier in the show, Jesus was not willingly. He begged to not go through with it. He even said in every chapter, not my will, which means he's not willing, but your will. It's fucking disgusting. But you carry on because you think you're holy. Jesus, it was holy that Jesus offered up himself. That's just stupid, disgusting. Like my analogy, I robbed the grocery store, so now I'm sinful. God's not going to let me in heaven because I robbed a grocery store. Well, let me go get my 10-year-old son and kill my 10-year-old son and spread his blood on the altar and sprinkle some on myself. And now God creature will be pleased with me and let me into heaven. Does that fucking make sense to you? That's what the entirety of the sacrificial system is built on. And Jesus is the escalation of that. Is he not? He is the pure sacrifice. He is the unblemished lamb. It's disgusting, and you don't even realize it's disgusting. You've been programmed to think it's holy and beautiful, and it's just disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourself, really, to be honest. Remember John 3:16. Don't forget that. God so loved the world that what did he do? He committed child sacrifice. He sacrificed his own son. Of course, you can't say God doesn't kill babies. Remember, God kills babies. God loves killing babies. God doesn't live killing babies. Go look whenever God hardened the Pharaoh's heart. He says beforehand, he says, you go convince him to let my people go, but I'm going to harden his heart so I can show my signs to the people and that they will know that I am the Lord. What are his signs to the people? Was it mercy? Was it love? Was it kindness? Was it forgiveness? Was it honor? No, it was the 10 fucking plagues of Egypt, which ended, by the way, my ignorant Christian friends, with God creature sending an angel to murder all the firstborn sons of Egypt, regardless of how old they were, the first to breach the womb. God did that. So if they were little babies, murdered by the angel. That's why they spread the blood over the door for Passover, so the angel would pass over your house. This is all disgusting. So listen, if you think this angel is coming and you want to protect your son, because, right, God creature's going to kill you, you go out there and you hurt a lamb. You take a lamb's blood. You go hurt an innocent lamb that's done nothing. It's just being. And you're going to go take its blood to put it over your door to protect your child from your God creature. How is this not disgusting? Now, how many of the Christians out there are blaming the Egyptians? Christians love to victim blame. Interesting stuff. Now remember, I love telling this story, by the way. When they got out of Egypt, they got into the desert and they pissed God off immediately by worshiping the old gods, and he made them wander in the desert for 40 fucking years until every one of them died off. You did know that, right? That's why they wandered for 40 years. So all the people that he rescued from Egypt would die in a fucking heat in the desert. God, that's love and mercy right there. Whenever they complained about the manna he was sending them, you know, manna from heaven, when they complained about it, he sent snakes to sting them. I think, Moses held up a bronze snake statue and they had to go look upon it to get like some kind of weird, I don't know, magic kind of shit. God creature. Love, mercy, forgiveness. Remember the story of Job? The angel, Satan, if you want, comes up and goes, man, that guy really worships you. You know, it's only because you treat him nice. And God's like, oh, watch this. Let's see how bad I can treat him. You still love me? You still love me? All right, good. You still love me? You still love me? You still love me? That's the story of fucking Job. And you worship this creature. Go read the story of Job. It's disgusting. Everything it does is just vile and disgusting. Who's the villain of the story? Job's wife, of course, who said, you should just curse this God and go on. I think, well, she never missed him. What was her name? What was her name? Oh, we don't know her name. Do we? She doesn't have a name. Would you like it if providing for your family and they still grumble? They had no respect for their creator. That's just disgusting, John. That's just disgusting. Here's the deal. So he should give them the shittiest food just because he's their creator. So your son and your daughter are in the backyard. I worry for people like you. Do you allow your children out of the basement? Do you just throw scraps of food down to them? You created them. They're yours to do with what you will. Now, in this particular case, God creature is fucking God creature. It's not you. He doesn't have a budget of $300 or whatever to go buy food with, so you eat $295 of it and you're 600 pounds and you throw the scraps down to your kids. No, this is God creature. He has all the resources in the world. He can merely blink and give them better food. Blink and give them better food. But no, these people that he's damned into the desert to die, he's going to send snakes to sting them for complaining about the food. That's your God. What a loving, merciful God. Mercy, kindness, wisdom. Do you see any of that there? No, I don't see any of that. The story of Korah, where there was a part of the tribes that were lost in the desert, were pissed off, essentially, I believe, because they were lost in the desert. Moses could not get them out. So like, we need different leadership other than Moses. Moses said, bring all your people tomorrow down here and we're going to have a meeting. We're going to talk this out. So they gathered all the people in one place. Go read this yourself. And then God creature swells up and gobbles them up with the ground and just destroys the entire tribe. He says to Moses, separate yourself from these people. They've complained about his, that's all they've done is say, hey, God doesn't appear to them, doesn't convince them, doesn't do anything, just murders them. Their entire family, men, women, children, tribe, destroyed. Then, go read it for your fucking selves. Then, some of Moses' own people say, man, Moses, that was fucked up, dude. Did you see what God did? And God, hearing this, goes, Moses, separate yourself from these people. Moses starts doing incense and lighting sacrifices and doing all kinds of shit to protect his people from his own God creature. You didn't know that? You should go read that. And it's funny how you guys think that, oh, my kid, this is your whole fucking thing. This is your whole thing. If your son doesn't want to listen to you and doesn't mind you, what should you do with your son? You have two choices. You could either let your son go and do whatever he wants to do, or you can burn him in a pit of fire in the backyard. These are your choices your God gives you. And he always takes a burn the child in the backyard. The whole notion that, you don't want to live with God in heaven against your will, right? So imagine we die and we're like, okay, there's heaven over there and there's hell over here. Well, God sucks and we're mad at God. We don't want to live in heaven. We'd literally walk ourselves into a pit of fire just because we don't. That's just stupid. Don't you think that's stupid? That's just stupid. Your pit of fire is really not very scary when it lives after death. Now, if you could prove it, if you had you grabbed me up and took me to a swimming pool that was on fire, and we'd have a different conversation, wouldn't we? And then you would say, you have a choice. I'm like, what kind of fucking choice is that? Imagine that. Okay, you can either jump in this swimming pool full of fire, or you can vote for Donald Trump. That's your choice. Really, that's a choice. That's a choice. That's my choice. That's a choice. That's not a choice. It's not a choice. It's not a choice. And fuck free will, right? What is your free will if you're going to be threatened with an eternity of damnation? Fuck your free will, right? Remember, kids, free will is what pastors and priests teach their flock is used. That's why God creature doesn't stop bad people. Free will. The God creature fucks with people's free will. All the time. You, by praying to God creature, are asking him to change other people's free wills, aren't you? Sometimes bring this person back to me, give me this job, all these things. A stop sign robs you of your free will. And yet God is not going to, your free will is to drive on, right? But you stop, don't you? Your free will has been eliminated, ignored. You let your free will be given away to a stop sign. But God won't take the free will away of a priest who's raping a child. Gotcha. Did you check why God did all he did in the Old Testament? Yeah, I did. Oh, you don't want to know this. Oh my God, you don't want to know. Really? We're going to do the victim blaming? That's what you're going to do? You know why he did this to his people in the desert, don't you? As I mentioned earlier, after they freed them from Egypt, they started worshiping their old gods. That was their punishment. Is that worth it? That's worth it to you? So that's why he did what he did. And that by you is worth it. Let's go read this one over here for you because, you're just not going to. Let's just read this one here. So I'm going to find it. It's Ezekiel 20. Good. Ezekiel 20. Oh, yeah, your children are yours. You can do whatever the fuck you want to with them, apparently. People are disgusting. Yeah, I said it. Not enough people say it, to be honest. Okay. Okay, so Jesus got his people out of the land. I'm reading for you Ezekiel, where God is telling Ezekiel what happened to the people in the forest and why it happened. Did you know that? You know he told you why, right? It's a horrific sin. Oh my God, they're horrible people. But the children rebelled against me. They did not follow my decrees. They were not careful to keep my laws, of which I said, the person who obeys them will live by them. And they desecrated my Sabbaths. That's what they were punished for. Yep. So does it say they burned children? No. No, it does not. Does it say they hurt anybody? No. Does it say they did anything? All they did wrong was they did not worship God, creature. And that's worthy of the shit he put them through. 40 years in the desert, alone, to die, to wander in the desert, stung by snakes when you complained about the food. This is a wonderful God creature. This is your God creature. So, let me finish reading, by the way. So he said, I poured out my wrath on them and spent my anger against them in the wilderness, but I withheld my hand. And for the sake of my name, I did what would keep it from being profaned in the eyes of the nations. I mean, he had to actually hold his hand to stop from just completely wiping out his own people. Is that what he's saying here? I had to hold my hand so that the people, so to keep it from being profaned in the eyes of the nation in whose sight I had brought them out. So if I had destroyed them, the Egyptians would think I'm disgusting because of what I did to my own people. Is that not what I'm reading here? Let's read this together again. But the children rebelled against me. They did not follow my decrees. They were not careful to keep my laws, which I said, the person who obeys them will live by them. And they desecrated my Sabbaths. So I would pour out my wrath on them and spend my anger against them in the wilderness. But I withheld my hand, and for the sake of my name, not for them, for sake of my name, I did what would keep it from being profaned in the eyes of the nations in whose sight I had brought them out. Yeah, so that's what he's saying. He would have fucked them up even worse, but the Egyptians were watching. He didn't want them to see that. Essentially, so that's balls to bones, what that says. But let's go on, my friend. It gets even better. Here's some more if you want it. I also uplifted hand. I swore to them in the wilderness that I would disperse them among the nations and scatter them through the countries because they had not obeyed my laws. Not for sacrificing their children, not for sacrificing their children by fire, not for anything but just not believing in your God creature's laws. Because they had not obeyed my laws, but had rejected my decrees and desecrated my Sabbath, and their eyes lusted after their parents' idols. Hathor. God of Egypt, right? The cow, the sacred cow, the golden calf. So I gave them other statutes that were not good and laws through which they could not live by. Here comes your next line, good Christian friends. I defiled them through their gifts, the sacrifice of every firstborn, that I might fill them with horror, so that they would know I am the Lord. Really? Do you have a loved one who's on their deathbed, but they've yet to give themselves up to the Lord?
Are you sure you don't want to come to Jesus?
No.
This is your final chance.
No. Worried they're headed to the fiery pits of hell.
Your very last chance.
No. I've been wicked and sinful. I deserve to burn in the hot place.
As you wish. Farewell, my heathen husband.
Farewell, my... Well, fear not, my wayward child. Introducing Father Flanagan's line of post-mortem baptismal kits. No more worries about being miserable alone forever. Be a good Christian and share that eternal pain and suffering with the ones you love. I'm in hell. Not as hot as I thought it'd be. Kind of feels like Houston, minus the humidity. Hello. My favorite drink crafted to perfection. Ooh, and some dank ass weed.
I can't bear to be down on my face chanting, holy, holy, holy is the Lord, every day, all day, for all eternity, by myself.
Wow, is that George Carlin? And Alan Turing, look at that. Carl Sagan, oh, I am so honored. You've been my hero since I was a kid. Neil deGrasse Tyson, what are you doing here? Oh, I get it. I get it. Schrodinger's heathen. Very cute, you. Very cute. That's fantastic. Oh, what is that? What is? It's holy water. Oh, it burns. No, this isn't where I want to be. Pabst Blue Ribbon and a Marlboro? No! Father Flanagan's post-mortem baptismal kit. Dead kid tested, Mother Teresa approved. Is that the Pope and John Paul? Jim Jones and Jimmy Swaggart, huh? I can see that coming. Neil deGrasse, what are you doing? Holy, holy, holy is the Lord. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord.
Thanks, Father Flanagan.
Damn them to an eternity in heaven for only $59.99. They wouldn't appreciate it, but you'll feel better, and that's the point, isn't it? Get yours now. Your heathen loved one's time is running out. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord. This is some bullshit. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord. All right, we're back. Thank you, Don. Thank you. I don't know if that's sarcasm or not. It could go either way, but I appreciate it. Mary says this is such a distortion, but what people really believe. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Sadly, it's not. But this is also the same person, Mary, who said God's first law is to love. Back that up with any scripture. Any scripture. I've got a dozen scriptures here. Hold on a second. Here is Numbers 31, where God is commanding them to kill all the little ones among the boys. Kill every woman who has slept with a man. That means pregnant women put to the sword by the command of God. But save for yourselves every girl who's never slept with a man. Now, you're going to say, they don't mean save as sex slave. No, they actually do. And in a couple of chapters later, they actually tell you how you can pick her from a tribe, how you can pick her out from the group, what to do with her, how you have to shave her head and make her live in your home for 30 days. Then you can take her for your wife after she's mourned the loss of her father and brother and mother who you murdered. There are so many things, God creature. And remember, Mary, remember what Jesus said. Got to remember Jesus's words. Where Jesus says that, let me bring this over here for you. Words of Jesus. Come over here. Ooh, Ezekiel, Mark, Matthew, which one? I don't know where to start. It's just so also delicious. Let's go here. Let's go start with Matthew. So, Matt, are you there, Mary? So I'm just checking. In Matthew, Jesus tells you what's going to happen when he returns comes back in force. When Jesus returns, he tells you what's going to happen. He says he and his angels are going to murder billions of people and throw them into a furnace. Jesus says he's going to do that. You know that, right? You've heard the phrase gnashing of teeth. Where's that come from? There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Do you know where that comes from, Mary? Now, Jesus loves Christians, right? Everybody else is wicked and sinful, unrighteous. Christians are the righteous. And in fact, only a certain few Christians, the right Christians. Not all Christians, obviously, because you all think the rest of them are doing it wrong. So Jesus is going to come back, and when he comes back, anybody who's not the right kind of Christian, he and his angels are going to throw into a pit of fire, a furnace of fire. Mark 13:41 through 42, the Son of Man will send out his angels. This is Jesus speaking, the red letters. And they will weed out of his kingdom everything that causes sin and all who do evil. They will throw them into the blazing furnace, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. He says it twice in the same chapter. Later on, but they threw the bad away. This is how it will be ended at the end of the age. The angels will come and separate the wicked from the righteous. How many people, Mary, would be considered wicked right now in the world if Jesus returned? So it'd be all the Muslims, all the atheists, all the Hindus, anybody that ain't a Christian, and then only a certain group of Christians, whichever one's doing it. Is it the Catholics that are doing right? Well, everybody else is wrong. Is it the Protestants? Is it the Christian Orthodox? Who? I don't know. But all but a certain. So that literally is telling you that Jesus says he's going to murder billions of people by throwing them into a furnace. You knew that, right? And he says it twice. You knew that, right? This is the same Jesus that talks about, bring them before me and I will, what is it? Bring them before me and kill them? Where he says he's using it as a metaphor. A metaphor. Yeah, that's Luke 19. Interesting. Damn it. Luke 19. No. Luke 19:27. But those mine enemies who would not that I show reign over them, who would not that I should reign over them, bring them hither and slay them before me. Interesting. Jesus said that. We wouldn't want to take that out of context because I know Jesus is not literally telling someone to kill them. He's using it as a metaphor. A sick, disgusting metaphor. Let's see. Is this the same one? Parables. Speaking in parables. Remember he's speaking in parables where he's teaching in secret? What scripture was it? 27? Interesting. Oh, that's why it reads like this. Sorry. Okay, gotcha. Wrong translation, wrong version. Who are sent? They replied, Lord needs it. Where is it? Okay. 27, so we go up here. Okay. He replied, so he said to them, this is verse 24, take his mina away from him and give it to the one who has 10 minas. Sir, they said, he already has 10. He replied, I tell you that everyone who has, more will be given, but for as the one who has nothing, even what they have will be taken away. What a piece of shit. Love your God, right? Love his mercy. But those enemies of mine who did not want me to be king over them, bring them here and kill them before me. There are more. There are the ones where he tells you to hate your family. There's the ones that, of course, essentially everything Jesus says is a threat, right? You know that, right? If you don't believe in, you don't have to be nice to other people. You don't have to be kind to your neighbor. You don't have to do unto others. You don't have to. What must you do in order to get it in heaven? You must, Christians are on to say something different. You must accept Jesus Christ in your heart and believe in God through accept Jesus Christ. All of that stuff, right? But none of that involves anything. Does it? I mean, it's just you and Jesus. So, and I just want to do this one more time. John's Moses. Would you like it if providing for your family and they still grumbled? They had no respect for the Creator. And this is what he was talking about whenever I was talking about how God was giving them manna from heaven. Whenever he had the people wandering in the forest for 40 years, he was giving them manna and they complained about that manna. And this person's defense is, would you like it if providing for your family and they still grumbled? Now, here's the deal, though. In this case, they're actually providing for his family, but he's giving them the absolute base minimum. It's like lock them in the backyard in a hot summer in the desert, and every now and then throwing out a couple of pieces of bread. Right? And when they complained about the bread or manna that he threw out, was he loving? Was he merciful? Was he kind? Was there forgiveness? No, he sent snakes. And you're justifying that by saying, well, the family still grumbled. They had no respect for the Creator, so they deserved what they got? Is that what you're saying? They deserved it. I wonder how you treat your children. How do you treat your children? I'm just curious, with that kind of mentality, is abusing your children because they don't do what you want them to an acceptable scenario to you? So your son is going to come out gay, and that's not good for you. You don't want that, so you would burn him in a pit in the backyard rather than letting him go live his life and be gay somewhere else? I could see that from a Christian. Merciful, loving, kind. Don Wagner says Satan tempted God's son. Satan was a genius. Here's the cute thing, though. They think Satan or Jesus is God. Jesus is God. Satan was tempting God. How could Satan even remotely tempt God creature? Isn't this story just stupid? It really is stupid, isn't it? And, you know, for somebody who betrayed God and did all these things that allegedly God doesn't like, hurts all of God's favorite creatures, Satan sure does get a pretty good job. I mean, he gets to tempt God. Jesus, he gets to rule over the earth and tempt us. What the fuck kind of punishment is that? Why isn't Satan, Lucifer, whomever, in hell, burning, screaming, powerless and useless? Why? So I've been wicked and sinful. Should I expect eternal damnation, or should I expect to be rewarded by being put over his favorite group of monkeys? Does that make sense to you? That Satan would rebel and that God would put him over us? Does that make sense to you? That's just fucking stupid. Many people believe that shit. I don't know say about. All right, so we did talk about the Pharaoh. Did we talk about the Pharaoh's curse earlier? I don't know. We're gonna play the Pharaoh's curse. I know, Miss Stephanie Ryan, you love the Pharaoh's curse.
Mi burrito es tan bueno, it burns when I pee. Abraham had the crotch cooties and gave his sister wife to me. El ataco bueno, it stings like a bee. They told me she was his sister, now I'm plagued between the knees. I've got the Pharaoh's curse, a case of penile plague. I've got the Pharaoh's curse, there's fire between my legs. Mi burrito está no bueno, a full bladder I fear. Abraham's lies and Sarai's touch have left me itching front to rear. Mi burrito está bueno, it burns when I pee. Abraham had the crotch cooties and gave his sister wife to me. I've got the Pharaoh's curse, a case of penile plague. I've got the Pharaoh's curse, there's fire between my legs. Mi burrito está no bueno, a full bladder I fear. Abraham's lies and Sarai's touch have left me itching front to rear. Mi burrito está no bueno, it burns when I pee. Abraham had the crotch cooties and gave his sister wife to me. I've got the Pharaoh's curse, a case of penile plague. I've got the Pharaoh's curse, there's fire between my legs. I've got the Pharaoh's curse, a case of penile plague. I've got the Pharaoh's curse, there's fire between my legs.
Good morning, Demo the Stoic. Thank you for joining us. It says that people being afraid of hell is so logically incoherent. So God saving you from coeditions and rulings, he decides and could also change if he desired. True, right? What kind of, and then this means God desires torture. Here's the thing. Many of these people believe that God knows the beginning from the end. Am I right, Christians? Raise your hands up to Jesus if you believe God knows the beginning from the end. If you believe that, then you believe God created billions of people solely for the purpose of being tortured for an eternity, either in hell or eternal damnation, whatever. If God knew from the end to the beginning, he knew later, you know what I mean? He knows all. Then that means he created billions of people just to burn. What a piece of shit your God creature would be. Thank you for joining us this morning, Damo the Stoic. John Nesbitt, thank you for being here. Says, I've been here for weeks now. Watch whenever I can catch these shows. Thank you. I appreciate you being there. It's nice to have the people. Thank you. And somebody said 30 viewers. Yes, actually, it's more in the 50s. I've got 2 streams going. But yeah, 30 viewers. That's how it goes. Let's see. And here's the little deal. Let's see. Pithecanthropus Hunter. Pithecanthropus Hunter. Close. Says, let's see. I don't like asking questions about the afterlife. Just prove it right now. Hold your breath for 30 minutes. Then you'll know the facts. There you go. There you go. That's true. That I should tell you about my Soul Sword project that I'm considering working on, but I want to do that. Soul Sword is we're going to sell you a sword. You can buy it from me. And when you die, I'm going to have it personally made for you by the Archangel Michael. When you die and you get to heaven, if you are dissatisfied with your soul sword, you just ring this bell. I'm going to put a bell behind me here. You ring that bell within half an hour of your passing, and I'll refund all of your money. Anyway, so hi, Kelly Shearer. I hope you had a great weekend. Thank you for being here. She said, Blarg, Mary, our life is here, but a short breath compared to eternity. Yeah, see, there's 2 points on that I want to mention, Miss Mary. One is, as mentioned earlier, so your God creature created people knowing specifically that they would spend an eternity in hell, or he didn't know the end from the beginning and didn't know they was going to spend their end in hell, the eternity in hell. But whenever it came to it, his decision, instead of blinking them mercifully out of existence, was to create a place of eternal torment. This is your God creature. This was his choice. We had a choice. We could follow his word or not follow. Right? He had a choice. But it's the fear. They want to use that fear to drive you, because the faith is bullshit. Religious faith is a measure they gauge in you as to how much bullshit you'll believe. The more faith you have or you're willing to have, the more bullshit you'll believe. Now, if you're too smart to fall for the faith, you read all this shit like Jesus died for me and rose from that's just fucking stupid. And look at all the things. It's a sacrifice. It wasn't. Just go through all the things. And you're like, wow, this doesn't make sense. So the faith didn't work on you. Now they're going to use the fear. Oh, but you're going to burn in hell. You got to watch out for that hell, because my love is God and Jesus is God and mercy. Also, you should know there was no hell mentioned at all, I don't think, before Jesus. Jesus brought hell. There was no hell before Jesus. Jesus brought hell. You either go to God through Jesus or you do what? Let's see. Caleb says, you guys can judge God if you want, but I'm not. If you choose to sin, you're going to hell. I don't want to go there, so I'm choosing to fear him. I'm not a fool. Actually, you are a fool. And that's why you fear him. You are afraid of an imaginary creature. Does that not... You don't feel like a fool? If I told you, if you were afraid of like Casper the Friendly Ghost, you wouldn't feel stupid? It's the same thing. You have no proof of this eternity, this punishment, but it's like what I said. It's just something to keep you afraid. If you don't fall for the bullshit, the ignorant bullshit, walked on water, huh? Fed 5,000 people with 2 fish and some loaves or whatever, right? Oh, yeah. That's just ridiculous. I ain't going to buy that. Then they got the fear. Buy it or burn in hell forever, right? Or face eternal damnation. Let's see. Geo Sam, thanks for pointing out Christian ridiculousness, because ridicule has its place. No gods, no masters. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Let's see here. And then says, that's like judging a tiger. So Caleb says, talking about God, he's not a fool. Says, that's like judging a tiger for eating a human. He will judge, and it's not a joke. Do the right thing and be wise. It's not really. A tiger eating a human is like a beast that eats things. It eats meat, and a human happens to be made of meat, and that's kind of the relationship. There's no moral judgment by a lion whenever it eats you. It doesn't. And it doesn't really have a choice either. It's choiceless. In a situation, it would be like, eat that meat or starve. Your God doesn't have that choice. That's a stupid. I don't want to use the word stupid. Nothing else is coming to mind. This notion that God is like a tiger and that he's some sort of wild beast, and no, that's just ridiculous. He has a choice. He could choose. He chooses not to. Over and over again. He chooses to be violent, disgusting, ugly. Yeah, so you be afraid of your God creature. Caleb, I'm not afraid of your God creature. I'm more afraid of my wife. She's in the other room. Mary, man, from the love that God has given to me, I will pray that the Lord remove the scales from your eyes to see his truth. In Jesus' name, I rebuke any forces blinding the souls that God still loves. Isn't that interesting that doesn't work here? There's no power here. Isn't that interesting? You don't seem to care about that, do you? You don't care. Did you hear anything I said, Miss Mary, or did you just ignore all of it because you don't want to hear it? The part where I was telling you about Jesus killing millions, billions of people, he's telling you he's going to, but you already knew that, didn't you? Mary, you already knew that. Revelation, right? You knew that. Jesus and his horde are going to come back to earth and they're going to wipe out everybody that isn't the right kind of Christian over a period of, 7 years? Is that how they do it? Isn't that how Revelation goes? It's going to be a long, bloody, merciless. Remember, in Revelation, they talk about having enough blood that goes up to a horse's bridle and 180 stadia wide, 180 miles, or about 1,600 stadia wide. That's a shit ton of blood. It's a sea of fucking blood. And Jesus is stepping on the wine press, squeezing the blood out. You know that, don't you? Don't you? I mean, the whole notion, Jesus is the one who is doing the coming, and he's the lamb, the sacrificed lamb, the returning lamb. You're waiting for God to come back and murder billions of people. When you made that sentence, our life here is but a short breath compared to eternity, Miss Mary, that's what you're talking about. You're eagerly waiting for that end. It's very greedy and kind of disgusting of you, though, really, isn't it? You're so greedy. So disgustingly greedy that you want a reward after this life. You're going to give up everything in this life because you've been told that. Here's the deal. It's not that you're going to get into heaven and then you're going to be a good person. No, you're getting there for a reward, for a treasure, for a reward from God. You're denying yourself things now so you can be disgustingly gluttonous when you get in heaven. Right? Interesting. Let's see. Billy Shed. Good morning, Billy Shed. Imagine being a sex worker named Jesus. Austin for Jesus. People can choose not to follow God. God does not want to be separated from his creation, but we have the choice to refuse his forgiveness. Yeah, that's blah. Refuse his forgiveness. What? That's just stupid. Refuse whose forgiveness for what? What do I need Jesus' forgiveness for? What did I do? What is a sin by your Jesus? Is it because I had sex out of marriage, or is it because I don't think Jesus is the true God? Either one of those are a sin. Either one of those are punishable by being thrown into a pit of fire by God, by Jesus, according to Matthew. Right? I don't have to be a bad person who's done bad things. I don't have to be an evil, wicked person. All evil and wicked means is not being righteous. So Muslims are wicked and evil. Atheists are wicked and evil just by being who they are. Wicked and evil. You don't have to hurt babies to be wicked and evil. No, that's a Christian thing. Isn't it? Isn't it? I got this one for you. My fine little Christian friends. I'm sorry. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Is your humble parish tired of constant litigation? Drained by bloodthirsty lawyers sucking the collection plates dry? Well, no more threats of jail time and public humiliation. Try Father Flanagan's line of inflatable altar boys. Cute little fellas, eyes and mouth wide with surprise, complete with lifelike tears. Father Flanagan's line of inflatable altar boys, coming to a Walmart near you. All right, we are back. Patriot of the West, hello, buddy. I hope you're doing great. Staying warm? It's winter down there, isn't it, in hell for you right now? Patriot of the West is actually an Australian. Very generous of him he turns his keyboard upside down so he can type like this so the words come out correctly because he's an Australian. You know, it's all upside down otherwise. Thank you, Patriot of the West. Says, in Norse there are 4 god places: Valhalla warriors, rest carried by Valkyrie, chosen by Odin, work Valhalla's fields, Frigga or Hell, or go to Baldur. Baldur sounds cool. Die Trump, die. What a lovely name. For $2, thank you. Thank you for your donation, Patriot of the West. We appreciate it, buddy. We do. What a lovely name. Die, Trump, die. That'll be a day worth celebrating right there. Let's see. Austin for Jesus says there's more evidence regarding the Bible than any other historical event ever. You're so wrong. You are wrong. Yeah, a lot of the Bible was written back then, a long time ago. So it's not surprising whenever it says there was a Pharaoh named Bob. Cool. There's so many things that are wrong. You do know that Moses and his people were never kept in Egypt. They were never enslaved in Egypt. There is zero archaeological evidence of 2 million people fleeing Egypt and going across the desert to the Middle East. There's no evidence of that. Even Israeli archaeologists will tell you the story of Moses never happened. Completely fantasy. And yet you're going to sit here and say it's the evidence Bible. Part of the problem is you don't know. Let's go here. Let me just do this for you because you might want to know. You might want to truly know. So here is an interactive resource. It is called BibleContradictions.org. I'm going to post this link in the chat. You're probably not going to want to pay attention to this. Cornelius Tacitus. Austin, when was Cornelius Tacitus born? Let's go look that up. Cornelius Tacitus. Let's see. Roman historian. Yep. When was he born? Give me a date. Born 55 AD. Born 55 AD. That's 22 years after Jesus allegedly died. That's not contemporary. It's not contemporary. You can't trust what he said. He was not there. If anything, he heard things from other people, and that's all. Sure, there were Christians back then, people who believed, obviously, but that doesn't prove Jesus at all. And this is 55 AD, 30 years, 20 years after Jesus died. Now, let's go look at the other one. Let's go look at the other one, because the other one isn't just as bad. Yeah, Jesus was long dead by then. So Flavius Josephus. That's the cute thing. Flavius Josephus was even further, I believe. Oh, son of a bitch. Flavius Josephus. Flavius Josephus was born in 37 AD. So actually, Tacitus is later. 37 AD. So that's 5 years after Jesus was born. Your only contemporary evidence of Jesus, people outside of Jesus's followers who mentioned him, neither one of them were even born during his day. That's not contemporary evidence. It's not. Now, if you're harping about Julius Caesar had 5 histories written about him, and those histories were written about 100 years after Julius Caesar. That's true. However, Julius Caesar had hundreds of people writing about him who were not his friends, not his family. There were towns he went through and conquered, and they would write, Julius Caesar, that motherfucker came through our town. Julius Caesar himself wrote a book. Jesus didn't write a book. So don't fall for the Christian apologist bullshit. Whenever they tell you that there's more evidence for Jesus than there is for Julius Caesar, that is very not true. It's absolutely a lie by the apologists, and I believe most of them know it. They'll go with the histories of Julius Caesar being written after. That's true. But there were people of the time, of the day, who were not his followers writing about him, and you don't have that about Jesus. The people who write about Jesus' followers weren't born for 20 to 30 years after Jesus, as we just discussed. Right? So you have no contemporary evidence. None. I have heard there's a, did I post that link for you guys? Let me post that link for you. I've heard there is a letter written by Pilate that mentions a person named Jesus. I've not seen this letter yet. It may exist. If it does exist, A, that doesn't necessarily mean it was that Jesus, and B, even if it was that Jesus, that doesn't mean he had power. That doesn't mean he was the Christ. That doesn't mean he was risen. None of that stuff. None of it. Doesn't mean any of it. So let's see. Go to that place. Go look at that link. Go look at all those contradictions in the Bible. Oh, let me show them to you. It's a really cute graphic that you're not going to want to see because you're the person who thinks the Bible is blah, 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 blah. Let's go here. I'm going to share this. I'm going to go add to scene. Now I got to come over here and I got to go boopsies. And then I go to Studio A. Okay, now you see the thing. Let me get off the screen there. Highlight. Okay, so here is the BibleContradictions.com. As you can see, these are all contradictions. Look at each one of these. If you hover over it, it'll tell you what is the contradiction. Where is it okay to steal according to Exodus, blah, 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 blah. There's how long was the Ark of the Covenant at Bob's house, right? I mean, there's all these. Now, over here's the New Testament. Jesus' words, these are all contradictions. You're kind of hard to see because it's covered up by the chat. Okay. All of that. Now, when you scroll down, you have even more. Down here is the scientific absurdities and historical inaccuracies. Wait a second. Historical inaccuracies in the Bible? Yes. Look at all of those historical inaccuracies. Cruelty and violence in the Bible? Wow, look at that. Misogyny, violence, and discrimination against women in the Bible. Look, here's the New Testament over here with all of that misogyny and violence against women. Discrimination against homosexuals? Oh, look. You just have no idea, do you? No idea. Let me go here. Under leave of Brutus and the rest, for Brutus is an honorable man. So, again, a Jewish historian, Joseph Flacceva. Yeah, we went through that already. He was a historian. That's great. That's great. When was he born? Was he born before Jesus and actually got to encounter Jesus and wrote about these things? Or was he born at least years after Jesus? Which one was that? Let's see. I believe I just learned that Flavius was born roughly, I guess, 5 years after Jesus allegedly died. Born 5 years after Jesus died. That's not contemporary evidence. At best, that's hearsay. At best, not evidence. Not even close. Jesus and his crucifixion should be treated like any historical event. Deciding if he is God is your choice. I don't even know why that would come up as far as the God thing. It's like, now, was it a historical evidence, a historical event? We don't really know if it was or not. I think, as we've mentioned, there's no contemporary evidence that says this really happened. The analogy I like to use is Stan Lee. Stan Lee, when he was a kid in high school, knew another kid named Peter Parker, who was a gymnast, he could jump around, all that stuff. And then Stan Lee went on to write Spider-Man. But the kid who is written it on it couldn't do jumps, or couldn't shoot shit out of his hands and fly across buildings. He couldn't do all the stuff Spider-Man could do. No, it was just a guy. At best. So thank you for the super chats, guys. I very much appreciate you. I've taken on, I don't normally talk about these things. I've taken on a pretty large expense. If you've been with me for a while, you know I tend to have computer problems. Gremlins, we call them, tech gremlins. I've kind of had them slayed for a while, but this computer I'm working on is 8 years old, and so I've purchased myself a new computer. And it's it'll be here tomorrow, and I'll build it myself. And yeah, so that was quite an expense. So at least but my shit's going. I can't really depend on it. So anyway, so if you can support the channel, do support the channel, because I got a new computer to feed. Thank you. And for the super chat, I do appreciate you, GeoSam. And Secular Feelinist just drove. Did I miss a super chat, or was that a different thing? Let me see if that was something else. I may have missed one. But thank you all. I appreciate it. So I'm also still building a website. For those of you who, Austin for Jesus, in case you're curious, you can go Austin for Jesus. You can go to destroyingchristianity.com, and you can read some interesting things here. It's still in progress. It looks a lot better, guys. If you go over and look, you'll see it looks a lot better than it used to. Austin for Jesus says, if God were proven to be real, would you then worship him and put your faith in him? No, absolutely, I would not. Not at all. Why would I? There's nothing compelling about the God creature. When you go look at the stories, man. The ancient Israelites saw him, knew God was real, and still chose to worship a different God. What the fuck? The same people who went up to the mountain, right? The same people who were led through, they knew he was real. They knew he was God. And yet they still chose not to worship him. That's part of the story we were talking about earlier. He helped them get out of Egypt. Moses went through the staff down and it turned into a snake and all that business. So They get out of Egypt, and the first thing they do they start worshiping God because he just freed them? Are they in awe and wonder of his power because he did all these horrific things with the 10 plagues in Egypt in order to get them free? No, they immediately start worshiping the gods of their fathers. And that's why he punishes them. Well, how fucking powerful and compelling could it be to even be there, right there with this God creature? Have you never thought about that? For example, let's look at Cain and Abel. The first murder committed in the Bible was one man murdering his brother for the love of God. And God didn't know that was going to happen? God didn't see that was going to happen? This God creature is horrific. Right from the very beginning. Right from the very beginning, it's horrific. The whole deal about the Cain and Abel, again, Cain was there. He was walking in the garden with God. He knew God personally. They spoke. God literally told him, if sin is crouching at your door, it will get you or something. God literally spoke to this person. And yet, Cain still, knowing God personally, murdered his brother. So you ask that question from me? That's just kind of stupid, don't you think? I'm sorry. I apologize. It is not a stupid question. It is a legitimate question. If you don't know about your God creature, it's a legitimate question. But if you know that even his own people didn't worship him, go look at how many times in the Old Testament God gives his own people into slavery for not worshiping him correctly. Let's go look this up. Mi burrito sono bueno, it burns when I pee. That's a love song I'm working on. Let's go here. What am I looking up again? I forgot already. Let's see. View prompts. How many times God does what? Goat scented flesh. Oh, by the way, I got goat scented flesh candles coming soon. I forgot what I'm looking for. How many times did what happen? Maybe my chat will help me out. There were many sand desert cults jockeying for power. Well, that was actually something I was going to get to earlier, because whenever you look up at like Josephus, he talks about people coming through. But not just Jesus. He talks about several. There was quite a few people back there pretending to be messiahs or whatever. Drugs. I don't care about the truth. Holy Hondas. Drugs. Yeah, I have done some drugs. Are you asking? Are you suggesting? Are you offering? What's the truth? I do forget I got a lot going on. I'm running a show here, man. I talk about a bunch of different topics. Occasionally, I forget what the fuck I'm talking about. But if I remember, man, I'm going to light you up with it because it's good shit. Okay, so here we're talking about God was proven to be real. So that's kind of the point. They knew God was real. They knew. They saw him. And yet they still didn't worship him. So, by your question, no, I don't think I would worship him. Even his own people didn't worship him. Can any of you Christians admit that you believe in the Tower of Babel? That's an interesting one. I actually enjoy that one myself. That's one of my favorites. And the reason why is because a lot of Christians think that God wants the best for humans. He wants the best for humanity. He wants us to grow and strive and to be wonderful, just to be the best we can be. He really doesn't. And the Tower of Babel proves that. How do I know all this stuff? How do I remember all this shit? Tower of Babel. Now I'm going to forget what the fuck I was talking about before I get there. Babel. Tower of Babel. So right here in the Tower of Babel, Genesis 11:1. Let's do that. Genesis 11. For some reason, I thought it was sooner than that. Genesis 11. Okay, so now check this out. Check this out. Now the whole world had one language and a common speech. As people moved eastward, they found a plain in Shinar and settled there. They said to each other, "Come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They used brick instead of stone and tar instead of mortar. This is like God seeing his people come out of the Stone Age and move into the hunter-gatherer age or some other business. Like that's what he's seeing right here. So he said, "Come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They used brick instead of stone. This is a cultural advancement for these people. Doesn't it sound that way? And tar for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens." so that we may make a name for ourselves. It doesn't say that we can sin. It does not say that we can be like God. It does not say anything. And there are lots and lots and lots of cultures throughout the Bible that do expressly that. Their whole purpose is to make a name for themselves, to have children, to go on and have a lineage. This is not something worthy of slaughter. It's just not. Otherwise, we will be scattered over the face of the whole earth, they said. So the Lord came down to see the city and the tower the people were building. The Lord said, if as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then there is nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. That sounds really good, doesn't it? I mean, if one people speaking the same language, they can do this, they can do fucking anything. We can't have that shit. The Lord said, if as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other. So this notion that God wants man to be happy and harmony and advance is this, no, fuck that. No. That's crazy talk. Crazy talk. Let's see here. Oh, BC Stargazer. Vehicle is flight. Interesting name, BC Stargazer. Is that a British Columbian Star Trek fan who's into... Oh, no, you're an astronomer. Good morning, anyway. Thank you for joining us. Sounds like God is an insecure douchebag. Hey, I mean, listen. God, they have a word called blasphemy because God's feelings are so pathetic and so paper thin that a chattering monkey like me can offend it. So yeah, that's pretty weak God creature. Good morning, Marcus. Good morning, Marcus. Nice to have you with us. Marcus Creasy, I hope I said your name right. Bible believer, brick is a counterfeit for stone. Slime is a counterfeit for mortar. If you know anything about masonry, stone and mortar is way better than brick and slime. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right at all. Brick is a counterfeit for stone. Okay, so you've got a rock. A rock is just a rock. A stone is a rock that has been worked. If it's never been worked by a man and never been touched or anything, then it's just a rock. But if it's ever been shaped or touched in any way and formed by any fashion by a man, then it becomes a stone. Just in case I don't know if you knew that or not. Let's see. I felt God's spirit in me stronger than any love that I've ever experienced from any human or drug, and I speak it to your soul. Well, Keelan, so God can do that to you? I mean, he can touch you in such a way that affects you so profoundly. And yet God doesn't do that to the priests that are raping children in his church. Why is that, you think? Are you special? Are you chosen by God above all these people who... I mean, why doesn't God reach out and touch their hearts if he's capable of doing that? And doesn't that fuck with your free will at all? So your free will hasn't been altered at all. You see how what you say doesn't really make sense? And when you stop and look at it on the face of it, it sounds like a super fucking narcissistic thing to say. God creature loves you enough to stop whatever. Oh, let me stop whatever the fuck I'm doing and shut down and everything so I can go help Caleb. And just walk by all those prayers of those little children. Please, 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 God, make that priest stop raping me. Please. Oh, here he comes, Jesus. Here he comes. Make it stop, Jesus. No, I can't do that. I got to go listen and talk to Caleb and touch his heart. You don't feel stupid saying those things? And I think the reason why is you don't realize what you're saying. You don't realize how narcissistic and shitty it is to sit there and say this God creature loves me, but lets all these other motherfuckers rape children in its own fucking house. And does nothing. Oh, what a powerless God you have. None of this bothers you. None of this makes you go, huh? What's more likely? You actually had like a hallucinogenic experience? Was your Ambien too high that night? Or, what's more likely? Or God touched your heart. Your heart, Caleb. Actually, I got to say, wait a second before I go. We are honored. Caleb, the man who God has touched his heart, is in our chat. We're so lucky. Because you're special. Because God loves you. you. Interesting. Brick is a counter. I ain't even gonna read that again. That's just stupid. It makes me stupider to read it. My IQ goes down reading that shit. I mean, is it possible for one man to build a huge ark enough to fit two of each animal on earth in the span of 70 years? No, I don't think it would be. Really, I don't think it would be. Oh, wait, somebody sent money. Throw me money at me again. That's true. Thank you very much, Geo Sam. Thanks for pointing out the Christian ridiculousness, because ridicule has its place. Oh, I did read it. Good. I didn't miss you. No gods, no masters. Thank you. Somebody on this vertical chat threw me some money. Is that build your new computer chat money? Let's see here. Patriot of the West, $2. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. And then Matthew Milkeen, to supplement your Julius Caesar point, he wrote 10 books total: the Gallic Wars, 7 books justifying his actions in Gaul and invasions of Britain, and the Civil War, 3 books also written bolster his image. Thank you, Matthew. I encourage any of you out there who are doubting this to go look them up for yourselves. And you can fully, I believe, ignore everything this individual says. Not that you have to. Sorry, Matthew. And the reason why I say this is because just throw out all of the books that Julius Caesar wrote himself. Just throw those all away. Every one of them. We still got hundreds and hundreds of other people who wrote about him at the time. It's not the same as Jesus. It's just not the same. Thank you for the $10 super chat, man. Yeah, so that's great evidence. His own writings, but damn, I mean, yeah. Let's see here. Randy, imagine if we believe Jack and the Beanstalk. Too many people do. Too many people hurt people for Jack and their Beanstalk. The point of the story is man getting together in order to advance mankind without God. Yeah. Is religion worth killing people over? There's 2 different kinds. Is it worth killing people over to force your religion on somebody? Or is it worth killing people over to avoid getting a religion forced upon you? Why is it that the believer, I mean, that's their only choice? This God is a merciful, loving thing, and yet those are our options. Bible believers, spit it out. You know you can. Cat got your tongue. And see, that's the kind of thing, man. You realize if my computer were to die right now, and you were to go, "Yay, Jesus has smited him," that would just. Oh. So I'm bad. I'm saying bad words on the internet. This chattering monkey's saying bad words that Jesus doesn't like, so he's going to shut down my stream. But let all those priests continue raping the children. Yeah. Oh, by the way, in case you were curious, we have. Oh, hey, later, BC Stargazers. Sin safely, my friend. Take care. We have a new newsletter that comes out every week. It's called The Millstone, and a new edition came out last Sunday. There's a link at the top of the chat. Go read The Millstone. Now, what The Millstone is it's a weekly newsletter, and it highlights the sexual assaults and cover-ups by the church over the past week. That's what it does. So let me go over here to, don't tell me I know it, it's Substack is where we're doing that. Substack. There's a link again up at the top. So go subscribe to our newsletter. I'll be developing it. It's still kind of nascent form, but let me bring this up here for you. Oopsie. So this week in the Millstone, now remember, this runs Sunday. Okay, I run it Sunday, and it resets every Sunday, so it doesn't count the ones from last week. This week's cases bring the total number of reported clergy and church worker sex abuse allegations to 40, just in a week over in our country. Like some of it, maybe something happened in Mexico, I think. Yeah, but 40 instances of church workers assaulting people sexually just in the past week, or the cover-up of same. So let me continue. A breakdown by source reveals that the Bishop Accountability reported 29 instances, while SNAP, the survivors network of those abused by priests, reported 11 instances. These numbers illustrate the widespread nature of this issue across denominations and geographies. Despite varying details, a common thread runs through each case: institutional protectionism. Yeah, so fuck the children to save the priests. Christians sacrificing children. Yeah, they're going to sacrifice the children to protect the priests. It says so right here. A common thread runs through each case: institutional protectionism, where the institution protects the priests and itself and goes after the victims. We know that's what they do, right? You know that's what they do, right? Was it the Jehovah's Witnesses even had their own law firms all set up? So they would tell you that if you've been victimized, call this law firm. But it was actually a law firm working for them, and they would suppress your cases. Isn't that a thing? Let's see. Let's go. Oh, another one. Thank you, Matthew. Another fact: Julius Caesar broke centuries of Roman tradition by becoming the first living Roman to have his portrait placed on coins minted in Rome. He minted several series, including the Rubicon X. The interesting thing, I just got finished doing the, thank you for the $10 super chat, by the way. I just got finished doing the play Julius Caesar by Shakespeare. And one of the interesting things I found out about it is you don't really think about these things, but by our standards today, Julius Caesar is actually the bad guy. They had a republic, and he was turning it into an authoritarianism, a totalitarian state. And that was why they killed him, because it was no longer, so essentially the guys who killed Julius Caesar were who we would think of as the good guys. And he's kind of described a lot of ways like, anyway, I find it, thank you very much for the super chat. I find the historical reviews by Shakespeare and the others to be quite interesting on Julius Caesar. Yeah, the Rubicon X, dude. Let's go here. I'm going to get this off here. Thank you very much for the super chat. Let me go here. All right. And we got this here. I'm almost done here. Thank you guys. Getting all that shit out of the way. It wouldn't be based on my experience. I'll create my own if it was something else. Want the change, pray for the change, reach out to God and pray for the answers and ask for help to know him. Why would I want to know him? You've not read about your God, have you? I mean, 40 instances. Yes, indeed, 40 instances. I wasn't done yet. Institutions often prioritize their own preservation over the well-being of victims, leading to cover-up, silencing, or dismissal of allegations. This week's cases demonstrated how institutions continue to struggle with transparency and accountability. I'll actually pop this up on the screen so you can see the newsletter. So again, there's a link at the top of both. Feel free to go to the newsletter. It's once a week so far. I want to do this one here is going to be the Millstone, and it's going to come out, and it's just about sexual assault and covering up of sexual assault in the church. I'm also going to have another newsletter that's going to come out, and it's going to be called the Theocracy Watch, and it's going to be watching the moves that the Christian nationalists are putting in our politics and stuff like that. That's going to be coming soon. That one will have a little blurb section that covers the Millstone. So let me come over here and get this out of the way. And so those of you who don't know, the Millstone is that part where they talk about in the Bible, if somebody hurts one of my little children, they'd be better off having a millstone thrown around their neck and tossed into the sea. Let's go here. So if you're a Christian out there, I would think you would think anyway. Let's go here. That, so this is our millstone. You'd think that the millstone is like talking about bad people. If you're a person, you hurt a baby or a child or something, you hurt a child, you should have a millstone hung around your neck, and you should be thrown into the sea. But that's not what it's saying. Jesus was using a child as an example. He brought a child and set it over on his lap. He said, you people, he's talking to adult men. He said, you are like this child. So he's not talking about children. He's talking about his adult disciples. And then he says, if anybody causes you, my children, to stumble, then they would just as well have a millstone tied around their neck and thrown into the sea. So he's not talking about hurting the child. He is literally talking about if you have harmed any of his flock. And the reason why I associate this to the sexual part of it is because if you were too sexy of a 12-year-old and the priest just couldn't resist himself, you caused him to stumble, and you are worthy of the millstone, not the priest. That's not what the millstone is about. If you're a Christian, you think the millstone is about threatening pedos? No, it's about threatening people who stop Christian priest pedos, essentially. Yeah, if you cause my children to stumble. So it's not talking about children. He's talking about his disciples. And that, my friends, is what the millstone is about. So if you want to, go over there, sign up for the millstone, and check it out. It's got, I didn't even show you all the links and stuff. Let me show you this. It's got links. So for each article, we've got, let's go here, share again, highlight, and then highlight. Okay, so here we got, these are the articles, the cases. You can go click on them. and it'll take you to it. These are, statement of diocese. The Diocese of Buffalo suspended Reverend Jeffrey Nowak after his arrest on what? Child pornography charges. And it just goes on. 40 new cases this week. Judge keeps former Buffalo diocese, how do you say that? I'm a Catholic. Diocese priest jailed after prosecutors detailed disturbing allegations. Oh no. Accused again, Flegger says. The presumption of innocence does not exist for priests. It damn sure shouldn't. It damn sure shouldn't. Anyway, guys, I'm off to save the world. Thank you for the super chat again. All of you wonderful people. I'm going to go back and see if I missed anybody's. I think I reread them all. Hopefully I did. You are all wonderful people. I do appreciate the support. Again, I'm buying a new computer, so I want to say this computer that I have here was a beast when I bought it. It was $6,000. I bought it pre-built, but it was badass. I haven't had to upgrade it at all. I saw the video card. I did get a new video card. This new computer that I'm going to get shits all over this one. And it's going to be about a fourth of the cost of what this computer cost. So, hell yeah. But it's still expensive. So if you can, please support the show. All right, guys, I am off to save the world. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, man. We're doing it again. Send safely, my friends. Take care.
Got a house that smells like old cheese and shame. Father Flanagan's flesh candles change the game. Goat-scented thrills for your soul's delight. Light it up, baby, make your room right. When you've sinned and need to atone, light a candle and avoid the stone. Smell the goat in a holy zone. Father Flanagan, here to set the tone. Confession booths, busy, no need to stress. Light a candle and forget your mess. Gross odors vanish like sins in the wind. With each wick, guess who's your new best friend? When you've sinned and need to atone, light a candle and avoid the stone. Smell the goat in a holy zone. Father Flanagan, here to set the tone. Lambs and calves may have their day, but goats, the scent that leads the way. Clean your slate with a sniff so pure. Father Flanagan's got the cure. Turn your home into a saintly space. With every whiff, find redeeming grace. From your living room to the kitchen